Cool. We're taking space.
Echo. Roger that.
Oh no, did it die? Did the stream just die horribly? I think it might have. Why did it do that, though? It died for a moment, but it's back. Oh. Well, sorry, VOD watchers. That probably just created a new VOD. Oops. Why does it do that? It did that like twice last week. I have not the slightest idea why. Here, let me check something. Okay, that's still up. How very unusual. Oh no, now we're over here. I'm gonna need to get that checked out. That's very unusual. Hold your positions. Besides Yolashio, who needs to be rolling up here.
Moving to position. Affirmative.
And there we
Moving
go.
out.
Now we hold positions properly this time. Yeah, that's very unusual. This happened a couple times last week. It's strange. Very strange. And we should have disconnect protection on. We should. It shouldn't just end like that. It's very weird.
C'était quoi?
I'll have to do some testing with it. Maybe it has something to do with the program I'm using to stream. I'd believe that. Maybe making a switch on that. Might start using OBS. I've been told that it is an improvement over what I am currently using. So maybe that would help? Question mark? Maybe it's something entirely on my end? Who really even knows?
I'm on the move.
Bell? Go face check this corner. Thank you. What am I using? XSplit? We're using just regular Streamlabs, I believe. So, I've been told that... I mean, I'm by no means a professional with this stuff. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've just been told by those whose word I trust that I would probably get more out of OBS. How do I want to move you?
I'm on
Maybe
it,
like
Commander.
this?
Headed there
Like
now.
this?
Okay. Moving to
Like that.
designated coordinates.
And then because that side is moved and I'm terrified of potentially activating here, there's a very dangerous enemy pod that we have not encountered yet, that we know is going to be here. It is death. Like, this pod could solo us if we don't handle it correctly, so... I don't know, most people use OBS, I think? Yeah. I probably should make the switch. I'll be perfectly honest, when I started streaming, I just kind of... I didn't really know what I was doing, so I went and I looked up, like a streaming tool. I think that I searched for Streamlabs OBS. The top result was like Streamlabs regular, and I just used that because I'm a little dumb. But you know me. That's consistent with my my I don't know, my personality, just being a little dumb. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. I think I'm insulting myself, actually. Let's see, bring
Moving.
Bell up. Hi! There was a little drone back here the whole time. Aww. Die, please.
Targeting system malfunction.
Grim? Thank you. Lovely. Drone deleted. Drone no longer.
Moving.
No idea. I've never used Streamlabs, but I thought it was an OBS plugin or an extension or something. You know, you could be right. I believe, or maybe it's the other way, right? Because isn't it like, OBS is actually like, isn't that like Streamlabs OBS? Like SLOBS, I think is its acronym, which is funny. Which is just a bit funny to me, I think. Let's be a little careful here.
Affirmative. Roger
Just
that.
inch up a little bit
Okay.
closer. I don't know. Clearly I do not know what I'm talking about. But we'll figure it out someday, right? Eventually.
Los geht's.
Someday I'll be a remotely competent streamer.
Moving to
She
designated
lied.
position.
OBS has been around forever. It used to be really confusing the first time I tried to use it in, like, 2011, but it's way better now. I see, I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. Can I bring a couple more people up to this corner and not die a horrible death?
On the move.
Yeah, looks like I can. Looks like I can get away with that.
Moving.
Yeah, I think, originally I intended this weekend to take a look at it, but as often happens with me, my weekend ended up... Oh, good, the door is closed here. I think we're saved. Yeah, I think we're saved. I think the door is closed and we're gonna be fine to move up more aggressively. I intended to look into it more this weekend, but as so often happens, my weekend ended up being... busier,
Good to go.
I suppose is the word that I'll use.
I'm on the move.
Headed there now.
More accurately, I was very good at not doing what I was intending to do. So, you know how
Providing
it is.
cover at my location. Resupply complete.
Okay,
Back
we're gonna get a
online.
big reload there. Big reload. Regular sized reload. I don't know how you could possibly do like a big reload. Like shoving extra bullets into the gun, like... I don't know.
Je bouge.
Huh. Now that's just strange, actually. On my dice, I was anticipating an additional muton and an additional sectoid that I hadn't quite managed to kill. Maybe I should check the bodies? Maybe I did kill it? And I'm just crazy? See, there's one sectoid. These little gray guys here. There's one down here, right? Yeah, right here. There's one. Maybe I killed the other one. Maybe it's back here somewhere? I don't see it, though. Because if they fled, yeah, I'm not seeing it. It must still be alive. You would think... you would think that if they fled and are no longer in this room, that they would have had to open the door. But maybe they just cheated and phased through it. Oh well. They've probably gone and joined another pod, so I'm gonna take them off the list. I'm not you, teacher. I don't care if you procrastinate. Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh. Yeah, alright. Looks like I'm being cautious
Order
over
confirmed.
nothing, so let's get a move on.
Roger that.
Are you playing with real dice? Yes, I have like a whole little collection of dice. I play... I mean, I'm big into tabletop gaming, just overall.
Double tap.
Anything that you can put on a table and play. Like, I love card games, board games, tabletop RPGs. I am a DM for a couple of Dungeons and Dragons
Moving
campaigns.
to designated
Like,
position.
I'm a little bit, I'll fess up, I'm a little bit of a nerd,
Moving out.
in case you can't tell.
Let's do this.
in case you haven't already gathered, I'm a little bit of a nerd.
Double time.
How do dice help you with this game? So dice, I hadn't been using them for the whole campaign, but you probably need to start moving, don't you?
Location confirmed.
Let's start bringing Grim up. So I use the dice as counters, essentially. So when I encounter, say, I know that there's one sectoid out there that was activated, right? I can put down a die with the one side facing up, and that reminds me, this is how much contact I have. I've got one sectoid. It's a little visual reference. At some point, in like the midpoint of this campaign so far, I just kept losing track of like the count of enemies. Which especially is easy to do when you're streaming this game, right? It's just like you're jumping back and forth between gameplay and talking, and
Affirmative, Commander.
sometimes you talk for a while and you look back and you're like, oh, what am I doing? Yeah, I use them as notes, yes. We're not rolling them. There was actually... So I must disclose, this is an Iron Man campaign, right? We don't reload saves. I will disclose that last week on Thursday when we were streaming this, we suffered a pretty bad bug.
Moving out.
Where are you? Collar here. Collar here got like perma-panicked somehow. XCOM is a weird, wobbly game built on spaghetti code. It's very good, but sometimes does very strange and unexpected things. And so we ended up having to, for this week, install the dev console and use it to manually restart the mission, which is not what we wanted, you know? It's not ideal, but it's something that we had to do. But one of the solutions, what had happened with Collar, is in his panic state, he couldn't actually hit shots. We could move him somehow, for no reason. You're not normally able to move panicked units. We could shoot with Collar, but he couldn't hit anything. It was very strange, and one thing I was considering doing was doing percentile rolls to determine whether or not Collar hit enemies, and I could delete them with the dev console, so that we wouldn't have to restart the mission. And I decided that that would actually be the worst content, the worst XCOM content that anybody has ever made, and so I decided against it. But we were almost rolling dice today, basically, is my story.
Copy that.
This is an evil door. We'll figure something out for it.
Roger that.
Like, nobody wants to sit here and watch me agonize over rolling percentile dice off camera. I wouldn't want to watch that. Like, that's like... I don't know, it's just bad. It would be a really rough time. Not to mention all the other unresolved issues. Let's steady you, maybe? We're getting close to the end here. We're getting close to the end. I think we're coming up on our final room. So let's make sure my people are actually in position. And the answer so far is kind of, but not really. Let's bring Grim closer. What do you mean agonize? Percent die are pretty easy to roll. Is it hard to know what percent you would need to beat? More specifically, it is rolling dice off camera and declaring the result, as well as not necessarily being able to get very accurate counts from Collar. The other problem is, like, rolling 2 hit wouldn't be that hard. The problem is, I don't know how the damage rolls on Collar are going to be all the time. Because there's a damage range as well. And he's got a lot of modifiers to it that I'd have to figure out separately. So every time Collar would shoot, I'd have to roll, let's see, like 4 dice, because I'd have to roll 2 different percentiles, 1 for to hit, 1 to crit. And then, based on that, I would have to do 2 separate types of calculations to figure out what damage he rolled. And even then, I'd be wrong, and it would all be off camera. Like, it seemed like a pretty poor idea. Not to mention that Collar's perma-panic thing was probably interfering with other behaviors as well. Like, this was a weird bug. Like, this is not normally what we see from this game, but it was a strange time to be alive. So taking a little restart seemed appropriate. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, unfortunately. We can stay here in the open, and...
Defensive position here.
A one for all in an Overwatch, and we're about to crack open this door, I think. Use random mode to put it on screen, but yeah, it's a bit jank, exactly, yeah. Hello. We've come to contact you about your, car's extended warranty.
Yes, on code.
Okay. I guess they did phase through the door, didn't they? Well, that's the Muton down. I think we've got a sectoid wandering around out here. What was that? I don't know. I don't know what we just saw. Let's just move on, okay?
Good sweet.
Did a nade just go off? Oh, so what you're seeing there in the side is, when an alien dies, their equipment is rigged to explode into fragments. It's like, you know, technology meant to keep us from getting our hands on alien tech. So unless you capture an alien alive, which you can do using the arc thrower, which is this ability right here. We're kind of intending on trying to capture it later, so we'll talk about how that works, but if you don't capture them alive, then their equipment, like the alien grenade that this muton was carrying and could have really messed us up with, and its rifle will explode into fragments. So rather than getting the rifle as loot, you get fragments, which have their own uses, of course. But thank you, Muton, for coming to find me and answer the door. I think that I appreciate it. Maybe. Possibly. It's one for all.
Defensive position here.
Then the dude just pulled a pin, got shot, and then blew up, but nothing seemed to happen. Yeah, that would have been, that would have been something. That's something that I think could happen. Maybe not by their normal behavior, but at least mechanically in OG XCOM. OG XCOM had a lot of different systems, and one of them is you could manually prime grenades and like have a primed grenade in your hand. In OG, which I think is its proper name is like XCOM UFO Defense, like game from the 90s, if memory serves. It's pretty old at this point, but still very good. Still very good. We might play some of that modded on stream sometime. A strategy in that, for the player, Maybe not an effective strategy, but a strategy that some people employ is to purchase rookies, arm them with grenades, prime the grenades, and run the rookie into the enemy. And then if the rookie dies, they fall over. They're no longer like holding like the primer or some whatever it's called on the grenade, and the grenades blow up in the aliens' faces. A very cruel strategy, to be sure.
On the move.
I don't condone it.
Okay.
I don't condone it.
That's affirmative.
Maybe I've done it a few times, but I don't condone it.
Look house.
Let's start to roll up.
Let's do this.
But in this game, when you throw a grenade, you just throw a grenade and it blows up when it gets to its destination. It's like if I wanted to throw this smoke grenade from my medic, you'd select its location, you'd click, and it would go there and activate. It's all instant. Overwatch. I don't think anything can round the corner on us, but if they do, I want them to die. Horribly, preferably.
Open your ear.
Screw you.
Hostiles are pulling back.
What are you doing here? Go
I
away.
can't move.
And you didn't actually take the flank shot. This is actually the smallest brained sectoid in existence. Like, ladies and gentlemen, we found a real specimen for you here today. This sectoid moved up to this hardcover position, had like 3 people flanked. No, more than that, 5 people flanked. And instead of taking the shot, it decided to stand here on its own and suppress our mech. I don't understand this game sometimes. Please, kill it. Take it out of my misery, please. I don't want to talk to this sectoid anymore. That's all active enemies down. I think that is something like 39 aliens killed on this mission, thereabouts. We're expecting a couple more pods. Unfortunately... Oh, no, that's interesting. Oh, wonder what that is. Unfortunately, I think that the most dangerous pod on the map is still alive, so I'm actually quite afraid. I think that the Dreadnought pod is still out here.
Position confirmed.
It is now officially 1 minute past 6 p.m. That is not a call for me to end things, but I actually, after this turn, I need to check something. I mentioned earlier that I run D&D, just for some of my friends, and I need to check after this turn whether or not they're actually going to be available to have it tonight. For anybody that's played tabletop role-playing games of any kind, you know how it's all about herding cats. Thankfully, you know, one of my players has been kind enough to forewarn me when I asked yesterday that he may not be available, so I'll just need to check and see. Because if they are available, I need to get ready for it. Because that starts at 7. If they aren't available, I don't know, maybe I stream a little bit more. I'd like to try and wrap this up. The aliens should install some kind of sensor to tell the proximity to their team, so if they die alone, they detonate secondary charges that are much larger. Oh, I mean, gosh, thank goodness you aren't in charge of the aliens, Bowtie. I think I would lose. I think I would have lost this campaign a long time ago if you were in charge of the aliens.
Solid copy.
We bring Grim up. Honestly, Grim's never going to be able to engage anything from back here, so bring you up further. That is devious. Alright, this should be the final chamber. Yeah. This is going to be the final room. It has a lot of different changes in elevation, very, very strange yet open sightlines. This is a dangerous area, and it's going to have some very, very dangerous pods in it. We've done well so far, right? The mission's gone okay. We're out of medkits, I think. Let me check. Yes, we're out of medkits. We're down to 1 smoke. We have managed to hold on to no rockets. Oh no. I have all my command charges, for what it counts. I've got half of my grenades. So we're running on fumes in terms of utility. I'm gonna go check that message real quick. I'm not going anywhere, but let me make sure. Let me make sure. I mean, if they're running some kind of constant vital check on their gears, surely they could also track their position. I mean, you're right. You are quite correct. Let's see. What does the scheduling say? I have received no update. I have to add him. It is message writing time, our favorite time of stream. Let's see, be very polite. We say that's perfectly fine. Do you know yet what the plan is? And there we go. And we hope for updates that are forthcoming. Do you stream my D&D campaign? I do not. I do not. I've considered eventually making a campaign for stream purposes. I think the main thing that's preventing that is, I don't think that I have any players that would want to have their sessions streamed. And, like, I don't have... It would have to be the online campaign, too, right? Or an online campaign. I have an in-person group as well, which I do on Sundays. And, like, I don't have the equipment, just flat out, to be able to stream them. So... I don't know, maybe I could set up something scuffed with the mic, but I don't think that that would quite work. Yeah, that's fair enough. I wouldn't want my session streamed. Yeah. Like, not everybody's, as comfortable with role-playing, right? Especially on camera. Especially knowing that, you know, you've got an audience of strangers watching. You know, even a relatively small audience like our community has. It reasonably adds a bit of dauntingness? That's not a word. It can be daunting. That is the way that I should be phrasing this. How do I take this doorway? I am not sure how to take this doorway, actually. I'm scared. I have to put somebody through here. But, like, I'm not happy about it, you know? I guess Pharaoh has to peek this, right? Let's give ourselves one more turn. I need a reload on Pharaoh. Hold Grim. Yeah, it's definitely something I would like to do in the future. Alright, I mean, probably a ways in the future. You know, we small baby streamer right now, but we plan on sticking with this for a while. I am so glad that I held position. Oh my god. I am so glad that I did not move. some people would like that kind of stuff. While playing is already kind of socially draining on an introvert or someone with any anxiety, then adding being watched on top. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, like you would need a group that specifically wants to be on stream. Nice CCS. Meet the Chrysalid. That was a very loud encounter, but meet the Chrysalid pod that I have been afraid of this whole mission. Can you hit your own people if they're in the line of fire? Thankfully not in the modern XCOMs. In OG, it had a different shooting system and you could absolutely hit your own people. But in this, it's just shoot the target. No friendly fire, except for AoEs. With AoEs, you can of course hit your own people. Now that's how your Cataclysm companion died today? Oh no. Tragic. This should be a pod of 6. And I only see 4 of them, which means one of them is hiding around the corner, which is actually incredibly awkward. We are going to have to remove them immediately. I'm going to take my hit and run shots first. So, chrysalids, let's explain what these are. Is, you know, for the uninitiated, these are a melee enemy, which may seem a little bit unusual. It kind of is. They are tough, they're fast, they hit pretty hard, and most horrifyingly, if they manage to kill something, whether that's a civilian, these are most dangerous on terror missions where you've got to rescue civilians, or if they kill one of your own soldiers, they implant it with one of their larvae, which will then raise the corpse as a zombie, which will then burst after a couple of turns into a new chrysalid. So, we don't like them very much. I'm not very happy to see them, actually. Sniper? Oh, good. You've got eyes. You've got eyes. Take your precision shot on the really healthy one in the back. You didn't actually get the kill on the companion, so you didn't get the morale hit for murder. It was 100% my fault. Oh. I see, I see. Oh, thank you, Grim, for being so effective.
Hoorah! I need ammo.
Thank you, Grim. I think the next two we clean up with our other soldier that needs to sit still and shoot.
Got it.
Thank you, Double Tap, for being an amazing ability.
X-ray down.
Yeah, like a xenomorph but in fast motion. Exactly. That's the vibe. And then there's one sitting right here around the corner, and I kind of need it dead. It's too close for me to keep here, right? I don't love the idea of stepping into the room, but I think I need to.
Moving out.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, you're definitely dead. And then let's step, I guess, Pharaoh. Deleted. Very good. Alright, all contact down. When these melee enemies, like the chrysalids or the berserkers that we fought earlier, the big red fellows, when they're alone and unsupported by ranged enemies, you can just clean them up easy. Alright? And that's not a problem. That's how you want to encounter them. The moment they are supported by enemy pods,
Ready to engage.
good luck, you know?
I'm on the move.
I wish you the very best at that juncture.
Yes, Commander.
There's a reason that your exoskeleton robot doesn't have a helmet. Oh, is there a reason other than rule of cool? Basically rule of cool. We can throw a helmet on them if we want, cosmetically.
Let's do this.
And there are some pretty cool helmets. If you'd like, when we get out of this mission,
Locked and loaded.
we can go ahead and do that. We do, of course, take requests to name soldiers and customize soldiers from viewer requests. Let me go ahead. My apologies. I'm gonna check on the D&D situation real quick. It doesn't add protection? No, it doesn't. So, equipment is modeled as an armor set. So, for example, actually most of my people here, like, if I can get in close, Ross Beef here, like most of the squad, is wearing what's called Titan armor, which is like late game power armor. It's really tough. It's what's providing them all these blue pips. These blue pips are armor, right? White pips are regular natural health. So by equipping Titan armor, Ross Beef just has that additional health, right? Helmets aren't a separate item, they're a customization thing. Compare that to our poor friend here, Ghost, who is our secondary medic, who is only wearing carapace armor, which is a much worse and older form of armor. And that's only providing like 5 pips of armor here. This is just kind of how that works. So the helmets don't provide any true protection. They just look nice. But here, I'm gonna check real quick. And it does look like we're doing D&D. Alrighty. So it does look like we're doing D&D. I'm very happy about that. I'll do a little bit more XCOM though. I've got a few more minutes to spare before I need to go get ready for that. We can probably set up the final fight, right? Maybe? Is that a responsible idea? I need reloads. That's the first thing. We need to get some reloads on our people before we roll up. Something like pull you back to here.
Sable. Ready to rock.
I see, I didn't know if there were body part shots and different protection values depending on where you were shot. Nope, not in this. That is a thing. It's a little bit more subtle, but that is a thing in OG. And in some of the... I'll call them off-brand or like XCOM. I mean, they're not spin-offs because they're not from the main developer, right? Currently, XCOM as a brand is owned by Firaxis, I believe, right? I believe that's them. Yeah. But there are a few games like,
Quiet. Do you hear something?
I wouldn't recommend it as a game, but like Phoenix Point tries to do stuff like that too. Which is like an XCOM style game, actually made by the original creator. Unfortunately, not exactly met with popular or critical acclaim, but it tries to do the localized damage system. How do we want to handle this? How do we want to handle this, though? So, there should be like 2 pods left. Maybe 3 if I'm unlucky. Apologies that my roommate is coughing in the background. He'll be okay, I promise. There's a command pod for the base that is going to include at least 1 enemy called a sectoid commander. Very, very powerful scion. Basically a little boss fight, really, you want to think of them as. It's going to have a big pod of sectoids with it. And it's going to be able to mind merge into them, make them super tough and scary. You would think that that is the scary pod that is left on this map, but no. There's something even worse. There is something called a dreadnought on this map. Specifically, the enemy type is a cyberdesk. It's like a flying mechanical unit. They're very tough to kill. They deal a lot of damage. They have a grenade. And specifically, this one is a dreadnought type. The mod that we play, Long War, adds different types to the enemies, and dreadnoughts are like the worst. They can shoot twice per turn, they have squad sight so you can't get away from them, they do all sorts of crazy things, like they're actually hellish to fight. If we do engage a dreadnought, I want to be able to suppress it the turn that I encounter it. And that's what I need to keep in mind here when I move in, so I'm probably moving my suppressors first.
Moving.
Just like this, and we're gonna snake our way into position. Something like follow with the shotguns.
J'y vais.
Moving to position.
Right? If we don't step on any new tiles, we can't activate any new enemies, is the idea. Send in another suppressor. So the reason we care so much about suppression,
Yes,
I
Commander.
think you can go here safely. Good. A little bit of a risk, but is Cyberdisk AI does not like suppression. Like, it doesn't. Sometimes they, you know, they're still legally allowed to do things and make moves, but if you can suppress a cyberdisk, it tends to shut down like approximately 75% of its brain, which brings it into the range where we're about the same intelligence. It might still be a little smarter than me, but at least it usually stops trying to kill me at that point,
Bin unterwegs.
is the idea.
Double time.
So we're gonna do our very best to move in here.
Will do.
You don't have rockets anymore, so just step
I'm
out.
all over it.
Then we can bring Grim over,
Location confirmed.
and I think we're good. I think we're set up and ready to roll. Got a lot of Overwatch, and come what may. That's the sound. That's the disc sound right there. I don't know where it is. And you know what? I probably should leave it here. Thinking about it. We figured out how we're going through the door. We probably need to pick this up tomorrow. I probably need to go get ready for D&D. I've got like 40 minutes. I gotta scarf down a meal and make sure that everything's set up. Oh gosh, so I hate leaving us on a cliffhanger. But I don't think that I have time to even finish the disc fight, even if I found it this turn. So, yeah, I think we're gonna call the stream here. Oh, that feels weird. Usually this happens with base assaults, though. They're like really, really long missions, compared to normal XCOM. So that's probably gonna have to be it for today. Oh, geez. I feel a little bit bad leaving y'all. But here, let me bring us on over to ending soon. Yeah, I probably just need... Oh no, Yolashio. You're just in time for us to end. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Bowtie. I will certainly try to give a good D&D game. Oh, Yolashio, I'm so sorry. But I've got to go get ready for D&D, so I can't stick around too long. We're not gonna have a repeat of the last time where I was like here to the last minute. We will be back hopefully tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with more XCOM. We'll be picking up right where we're leaving off. Probably about to fight the final, hopefully 2 pods of this base assault. And it's gonna be a hell of a time. So if you want to see that, that's when we're getting started. Yeah, thank you. I will have fun with D&D. I think I've got some fun things for them to do. Thank you to everybody that tuned in today. It was a great time streaming for y'all. Y'all make this what it is, so thank you so much. Huge thank you to our chatters as well. Just had a splendid time, as always, talking to each and every one of you. And And I'm sorry, VOD watchers, that the VOD got split into again. There's nothing I can do about it, but, you know, my heart goes out to you nonetheless. Alrighty, I'm gonna skedaddle. You all have a lovely night or afternoon, wherever it is you are, and stay safe out there. Bye-bye.